Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do an update tarot reading for Mina and Jimin's former AOA members. So to see how this is progressing, if this is progressing, you know that now new evidence has come out and a lot of divided opinions, and I think that maybe this is the reason why I decided to do these kinds of reading this update, because for me it's a very sensitive subject, because I work with people that has a lot of mental illnesses. So this is why sometimes I feel a bit uncomfortable, like trying to interpretate through the tarot something that it's very unpredictable, and that there are a lot of information, but at the same time it seems like that information is more confusing even. So you know that I have done a reading for Mina and Jimin in the past, and I was like rewatching that, and I was listening very carefully and about what my interpretation was but then. And so I wanted to do this update to see if I can get a different perspective or a different perception. This is why I'm using this tarot deck, that it's very profound, it's very, especially it's based on astrology and some like mythology as well, mythology characters. So it's very profound, and so I wanted to use this deck to see if I can get like a deeper understanding about each other's point of view, because I think that at least for me, the reason why I do this is because I want us to be able to empathize with both of the people involved, and at the same time of people that probably are involved like unwillingly. And probably this also has to do with the public and the fans and people that have different sides. I think that it's great to take this kind of interpretation with a certain like critical thinking. I don't want you to take this like I have the absolute truth. I just want you to be able to connect with your intuition and take whatever resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay, because we probably the only people that know what's going on is the people involved, and we are very far away from that people. I'm going to start reading Mina's side. She got the card of Sleeping Beauty, Pythia, and Quantum Leap. Starting with the card of Sleeping Beauty, that this card is it's ruled by Cancer and Pisces signs. So you know, this energy also talks about probably Mina going through moments of actually trying to stay away. I know that she had said that she wanted to stay away from social media, and actually she came back like right away. But I think, you know, that it doesn't have to do much with it's not about staying away from Instagram or staying away from social media. I think that she is in a state where actually she is like indeed a Sleeping Beauty kind of atmosphere when it comes to her consciousness, or when it comes to her ability or capacity to perceive reality. Because Cancer and Pisces talks about you having this very energetic, this very sensitive energy around you. Probably you are very sensitive to a stimulum outside, to other people's energy, to and you get like very sensitive all of a sudden. It's like you get hyper aware. So I think that if she is in this sleeping beauty state, it's because she's not fully aware of what's going on, or actually the magnitude of how things had gone so far. I know that a lot of people like start to get annoyed or start judging the fact that she's acting so erratically, or that she's been acting strange, and sometimes it seems like she is like getting into trouble or is like making things more difficult for herself. But I think that she, in this sleeping beauty kind of a state, I think that she is like someone that definitely needs protection from others. It's like, because you know that the sleeping beauty story tale actually talks about this sleeping beauty waiting to be rescued by this Prince Charming, you know, to wake her up from this eternal dream, you know, that she's submersed in. And I think that when it comes to Mina's actual stability or actual state of mind, I think that she's submersed in a kind of fantasy, in a kind of dream. It possibly has to do with, I don't know if she's taking some medication that somehow possibly is helping her in some ways to function normally, but it has like like other symptoms that is like affecting her judgment, or the ability to realize that maybe she shouldn't make the choices that she is making. But I think that if she is in the state of sleeping beauty, I think that she definitely is someone that is like very far away from the reality. She's like submersed in this kind of fantasy or dream, and that she's waiting for someone to help her. She's waiting for someone to rescue her from herself and from this state of like being in this eternal dream state where you can actually perceive what's going on around you, but somehow you cannot react. Like, it's not easy for you to wake up and be like, okay, I know what I did wrong, I know what I'm going to do right, I'm going to fix things. I think that she is in a state where there's an aspect of her personality that actually is a bit like asleep. So she definitely is in this position of vulnerability. And I'm not talking about whether Jimin is responsible of this or not. I think that this has to do with her own history. I don't think that actually Jimin is the one that caused her to go through this downfall, but I think that a lot of things that happened to her were like small triggers of that sensitivity of hers. Probably she had always been very vulnerable, you know, and I think that the fact that she had to work in this kind of environment where stress is like your best friend, you know, it's like you have to make friends with with stress, with being all the time criticized, with being on the all the time under scrutiny, or being all the time judged by others. I think that when you think about her energy being this fragile, I think that it can trigger a lot of inconsistencies in her well-being. And then we have the card of Pitya. Pitya, it's a goddess, and sometimes Pitya, it comes from the word Pythonese, that is like some kind of fortune teller. It's the energy of Jupiter and Neptune. So it means that probably there's a part of her that she thinks that that somehow she has like an inner knowledge of what's going on, or probably that she has some secrets that she could share, or that or some perceptions about what happened that could like benefit her. But actually this quote unquote evidence that she thinks that she has, or these memories that she collects about what happened, actually are surrounded by this kind of cloud of this like a lot of energy that is very deceiving, about you not being able to see what's right or what's real. I think that the connection of the Jupiter and the Neptune energy is very diffusing, in the sense that probably she thinks like she is some kind of, when some people are very secrecy, and they are like, oh, I will withhold this information because this will benefit me in the future, or this will be essential for the people to know about what happened. And actually she's holding on to some kind of illusion about what happened. I think that the more that as time goes by, I think it is becoming harder for her to actually see through all these clouds, or all these, it's like smokes everywhere, like these kind of very vague memories, where actually is not determined if it is part of her imagination, or if it's actually something that truly happened. I think that, but the goddess Pitya, it's someone that they see and they recognize themselves as these people that has like very sacred knowledge. So probably she is in a place where she feels like she is the fortunate one that knows exactly what happened. So probably there will be a lot of resistance to actually get her to probably admit that there were some parts of her story that were a bit non-consistent, or that were a bit hard to believe. I think that probably she sometimes her narrative, or the way she expresses how things happen, how sometimes there are some details that are swifting or are very different from her original statement. So this is why I think that for her it's really difficult right now to be this to have this kind of very sharp intelligence or awareness of being like, oh, okay, this is what happened, and this is what this is exactly what happened, and this and this and this. If you ask her probably to name certain situations, probably she will, and she will also add other information that will make everything seem more confusing. But in her perception, she sees herself as this goddess, as this archetypical figure of Pitya. She sees herself like this keeper of secrets, like the person that knows the truth of things. So probably it's really hard for her to actually realize that maybe her perception is not exactly what actually happened. And I don't think that she will actually come to a full realization. This is why I think that it's important that she stays away from social media, because maybe someone would be like, oh, maybe you should apologize, or maybe you should write and set the record straight. And actually, she's not capable of doing that, because every time she will try to make a statement to apologize, she will end up to add more elements that will actually not be beneficial for her at all. So it's like, I don't think that she is in a good state where actually she can like differentiate between reality and between what's real and what's not real. And then we have the quantum leap. That is like a leap of faith. You know, this card also talks about the energy of Sagittarius and Aquarius, and she is a moon in Sagittarius. So if I see a lot of Jupiter and Sagittarius here, it's because definitely her energy is very expansive. So she is someone that you cannot hold her down, in the sense that she is going to be very, very vocal, very loud, very spontaneous when it comes to speak her truth, you know, about what happened. And I think that with this quantum leap, definitely she has this inner need of actually setting herself free from all the hardships that she went through. But sometimes the way she wants to set herself free from suffering, it's very extreme and it's very radical and it's dangerous at the same time. But I think that she is looking for a new beginning. She is looking for, it's like as if in her mind she had always been captive of other people's making decision for her, you know, and other people like trying to meddle in her business. So this is why sometimes in this desire of doing this quantum leap, she sometimes goes too far. You know, she takes very extreme measures or actions in order to achieve this kind of liberation that she's hoping to do. It's like she wants to start over, but she doesn't realize that she needs to find some kind of grounding. You know, she actually is someone that she wants to fly. You know, it's like her spirit is asking her to fly away, you know, so she can set herself free as if she was some kind of bird, you know. And I think that that's very dangerous actually, because it looks like she is disconnected from her body, from the material realm, you know. She is like, it's like in her mind she just wants to go away. She wants to transform in this kind of I don't know, a kind of phoenix, you know, and like fly away. And I think that kind of vision and that kind of dream is very dangerous, because we know what she's capable of when it comes to attacking herself or her body. So I think that she definitely needs someone that can like hold her in and actually help her to stay in reality, you know. And I think that it's very difficult, because I don't know what kind of medicine they are giving her, but it's really strong, and it's definitely affecting the way she is processing her thoughts or her perceptions and the sensations that she gets. It seems like she is not conscious at all. And then on the case of Jimin, we have the card of the goddess of Mnemosyne, that is the goddess of memory, and this energy is ruled by Cancer and Sagittarius. Then we have the card of responsibility for creation. This is the card that is ruled by Taurus and Capricorn. And then lastly, we have the card of the preacher that is ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So I think that starting with the goddess of memory, that it's Mnemosyne, I think that definitely Jimin has a good memory. Probably she does know exactly what happened and how it happened. So probably this is why she is staying like very fixed and strong in her position of not reacting, because it's like she in her vision she she doesn't see the events the way Mina told that it happened, so she is like remaining in this position of not moving, not reacting, not talking. I think that she has the ability to recollect memories, and she probably has like a good memories about what happened and certain details that could potentially help her if she has to speak up or if she wants to. And then we have the card of responsibility for creation. So this card, it's like this card is ruled by Taurus and Capricorn, and let's remember that she is a Capricorn sun. So I think that when it comes to comparing her energy to Mina's, obviously Jimin it's much more stable, it's much more like grounded, but at the same time, this card of responsibility for creation definitely is like telling her like, what do you do with all the memories that you collected, or what do you do with all your information about what happened. Like at some point she does need to take responsibility for what she created. And I think that this doesn't have to do with the bullying accusations. Actually, this is talking about the responsibility of for creation is that somehow she was named the leader for a reason, and somehow she is like the responsible of the creation of the group and the synergy of the group. I think that she has to, and I think that she's doing this inner work about like I don't think that she's fighting the responsibility. I think that she definitely acknowledges that there's some responsibility in her, but I think that her responsibility, her sense of responsibility is not from a place of feeling dramatic or feeling like extremely guilty. She's just feeling like she's feeling really sorry because of how this affected everyone, like this situation, and how things turn out between them. Definitely it's not what she wanted for the group. I think that she feels really sorry for the group, for the how everything was, how everything turned out for the group. Probably she was very fixated on making the group famous or making the group achieve certain things that she probably, what she couldn't see is that there were some members that actually needed her to be more loving, probably to be more like affectionate, to be more like a mother. I feel like here with this card, responsibility for creation, and this Taurus and Capricorn combination, I see her more like fulfilling this kind of role of a father figure more than a motherly figure. And probably these members, they all in their different attitude or in their different like way of expressing themselves, they somehow needed some kind of motherly affection coming from their leader. So I think that actually what Jimin is really sorry for is not having been able to provide that for the members, for all of them, not just for Mina. I think that because here when I think about creation, I think about the whole group, not just Mina. I think that sometimes she wishes she could have done things differently. I think that she was feeling very pressured, and of course that the word responsibility, it's a huge weight on your shoulders, even for a Capricorn. You know that Capricorns tend to be like natural leaders, but I think that she definitely struggled with a lot of pressure from the higher ups, and somehow she wanted to give very concise and very like very straightforward, like directions or like advices or feedbacks, so they could be a better version of themselves. And she forgot to be more loving, accepting, and warm, about feelings, about being emotional, and also allowing herself to be emotional. Because I think that this also has to do with herself asking like, why do they always put her in this place of accepting the responsibility? Like I'm sure that, I don't know about Jimin's life, but probably she had always had to play the role of the responsible one in her environment, or in her family, or in school, or in the group. It's like she had always had to be like the one that was like an example for others. So she was a bit rebellious against this. She was like, oh, like probably she was also a bit angry about this. Like, why do I have to take the responsibility for all, or why do I have to be so pressured all the time? So probably she could have had at some point some anger issues about this situation, and this doesn't mean that this is an excuse for someone to be aggressive towards others, but I think that she got this card that is responsibility for creation. So basically, like, the tarot is like telling her, like, look what you created. Like, are you happy with what you created? Like, and it's not about these accusations only. It's about what did you do with all the responsibilities that they put on your shoulders? Did you ever refuse? Did you ever ask for help when it was too much for you to handle? Or when you didn't know what to do, did you reach out to others for help? No, she maintained, because then we have the Taurus energy. So the Taurus energy is like you being really stubborn into thinking that, okay, if it is my responsibility, I will play the role no matter what. And it's like she also forced herself to be this ideal for other people, and this also like damaged her perception of what's happiness, or also herself wanting to be free at some point of these responsibilities. Probably being like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the leader anymore, because it can happen. It can happen. And then we have the card of the preacher. Definitely the card of the preacher is Sagittarius and Jupiter again. So obviously she does have like the ability of being really good at speeches. So if she has the perception that she is not guilty of these accusations, probably if she someday decides to talk about this, she will probably be very selective about when to talk about it and to whom to tell that story. And she will also be very diligent about gathering evidence, and she will be like very like neat about that, like a perfectionist. And I think that this is the reason why she's not speaking today, because she doesn't want to speak from a place of emotional frustration. She doesn't want to start crying or start like acting all emotional, because I think that there's something about showing herself being emotional that she doesn't want to be out of control. She wants to be very like composed, very pulled together. She wants to look professional, and at the same time she wants to have a kind of platform or a kind of environment, and a kind of like also a kind of interviewer or a media, someone that allows her to express all these memories that she has about what happened in a very like organized way. So I don't know if maybe, because that the preacher, it's almost like a priest, and that they have their audience. So I don't know if maybe she's thinking about giving like some kind of conference, like a press conference or something like that, because I see her like with all the flashing lights in front of her and the microphones and all these like everyone like looking at her, and she being like on this pedestal almost, you know. So I think that she's pretty serious about what she wants to say. And also with Sagittarius and Jupiter, it's like she wants to give this very grand gesture, this very grandiose kind of moment, you know, where it's like, okay, I'm going to make it big. So I don't know, maybe you should wait for that. And then the last card that I pull out for us, what could potentially happen of this situation, we got the card of the Pied Piper of Hamlin. That it's the energy of Mercury and Pluto. So, yeah, really, guys, I think that this situation actually is going to get more confusing every day. Actually, it's like the more information you get, or the more confessions, opinions, interviews, messages, the more evidence you get, the worse it will be for you to be able to see what's right, or see or have your own perception about what happened. I think that even the people involved are not even sure about what happened anymore. I think that somehow this event or this interaction between these two members somehow had been so manipulated by other people that the people involved don't even know when it began and how it went down and what the resolution was. I think that because the Pied Piper, it's someone that has a float, and with this music it attracts people with its rhythm to follow him, so it's kind of someone that hypnotizes you with music. And sometimes they hypnotize you into very deceiving things. So I think that probably there's a lot of about what happened, like mixing their both people involved point of view. I think that there's a lot of manipulation, and like if I were to read this tarot reading as a whole, I would be like, do not trust the media or do not trust anything, because I think that what was the origin of what happened or what caused this situation is very far away and very manipulated and modified version of what's going on today. So I think that it would be very, because it would be like, I also read people that are like, okay, let's stay neutral, let's not get ourselves so involved or so caught up into this. But somehow you are still like waiting for some kind of resolution, right? You are still waiting for the day that they are like, okay, today is the day that you're going to have some kind of, I don't know, information about what happened, final statement. Like, and honestly, I have the feeling that this will go on and on and on, and you will, and you, every time you hear something new, you will feel more confused even. So, since there's so much energy of manipulation here, and there's also Mercury, that is the planet of communication, so it seems like when it comes to words, when it comes to statements, when it comes to evidence, when it comes to analyzing, you're going to get this kind of content a lot. And I think that people are going to still be talking about it like years to come, because I think that actually this has lost its meaning or its purpose. It's like now it's becoming something else. It's not what it originally was about. It became like more exaggerated, and things keep coming in. Like a lot of characters appear all of the sudden and are somehow involved. So I think that this is kind of a manipulation for the audience. So I don't know, guys, about this. I would advise you, according to what I see in the cards, do not follow the Pied Piper, because there's something here that is like manipulating you to keep interested in this story, so you don't see what actually is going on. So I think we should, for our health, our own mental health, and of course for also for our own well-being, and not to stop fighting and arguing, because sometimes this can become really toxic, and we really don't know how much we are involved in this, even though we are like, oh, I'm not going to talk about it. But even though we always have like this extra update about what happened or what could happen, so I think that the resolution, at least for me, it would be to do not follow the Pied Piper, because I think that this is hiding something behind all of this. So I think that we need to remove ourselves from the situation and let them, if they can, handle their matters by themselves or on their own. Because I think that there's the reason why we are hearing so much about this in public is because there's some kind of gaining out of this that we are not aware of until today. So yes, guys, this is all I have for my interpretation. I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for being here as always. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.